Well, now joining us here on A's Cast Live, and it's great to have him back on the A's airwaves. The great Joe Maddon is with us from Chicago as he has his new book out with Tom Verducci. How are you?
I am well. I am. I'm a little cold in Chicago. We had two great events yesterday. One at the Union League and one at Anderson's Bookstore in Downers Grove. So I'm having a good time.
Well, I got to think when you're back in Chicago, I mean, the man that broke the curse, it's got to be pretty special for you.
It is. I mean, you're reminded constantly, and these people here are the way I could describe Chicagoans. They're both tough and sweet at the same time. I really enjoy my conversations. I'm going to head out the door in a little bit, and I'm certain I'll be stopped when I walk over to the mall here. Just they're very grateful. They recount it so clearly. It means so much to them. And you just got to stay open and listen, man. The people here are truly grateful, and I'm grateful for them.
You know, the book of Joe, Try Not to Suck at Baseball and Life. You know, Tom Verducci, we've had him on the program many times. He's a brilliant writer. He's turned in to be such a great broadcaster, too. He's one of the top journalists in our game. Why did you guys come together? How did it go about? And when did you decide that you wanted to write a book?
Well, we had first of all, I decided like in 2008 after we went to the series with the Rays, people were approaching me, but I knew I did not have enough cachet built up. I didn't think it was the right time. Won the World Series in 16 and then conclude with the Cubs in 19. And I ran into Tom and I brought it to his attention. I said, "What do you think about this?" He was open to it, obviously, and we talked about premise, and that would be the compare contrasting managing in the 1980s to present time, and then also the Maddonisms. And as it turned out, they had each chapter. So, wow, it was easy. I recorded about 100 hours while I was riding a bicycle in Mesa, Arizona during the pandemic, and sent it to him daily. And he would come back to me with direction, and eventually turned out to this. And I know I picked the right guy. He is as brilliant as you described.
You know, it's so interesting about your career, and I know we've talked about it before, but all the years in the minors, and then we got to know you when you were with Mike Scioscia and all those great years with the Angels, and then of course the Rays, which was now changing baseball, a new way to play the game. Then you go to the historic Cubs, and now you're with a big market, big money team. So just talk about how in your career you've seen it all from the minors to the big market to the analytics. You've seen it all.
I've been grateful for that. I think it's really important. A lot of guys aren't doing that anymore. I mean, that's pretty much the way you had to do it back then. And I still think it's the right way. This is not a guy that's 68, going to be 69 speaking right now. It's just the right way to do things. You need a base, you need a foundation. I had great mentors. For me, it was Bob Clear at that particular time. Ron Plaza was the guy with the A's at that particular time. There was Guy Wellman with the Dodgers, Jimmy Snyder with the Cubs, Mr. Bob Kennedy with the Giants. I mean, all these guys were like pretty much that organization and how everything was taught from the bottom up. And I loved it. I love Bob Clear was my mentor with the Angels. Of course, I had Marcel Ashman. I could go on and on, but these are the guys that helped me learn to think in regards to baseball and how to process my information, what I thought was important. And then eventually you get the opportunity to keep moving forward to the point where I do arrive in the big leagues. But I'm very grateful for that struggle and the fact that it took me so long to get here because it does matter. It does matter. I have a more complete outlook. I was a scout also. So I'm grateful for all these things that permitted me to eventually get to the big leagues as a manager. Analytically speaking, I was doing that for Soch and Terry Collins and even Marcel prior to before it became popular. Didn't call it analytics, called it information. I was working off stat sheets, and I would try to call it down to the point where it was presentable in the dugout. I used to post things on the wall. I mean, like long legal size sheets of information that I would glean from all kinds of stuff, scouting reports, just from stat sheets, from spray charts, my own observation, and that would be on the dugout wall prior to every game. So I'm into it, absolutely into it. And so when it came to the point where I got to the Rays, Andrew said, "Listen, I don't want you having to do all that stuff every day. Let's assign this to different people and we'll do it for you," which was great. But I still like doing my own work because once you write something down, you have a much greater chance of remembering it. So the more work you did on your own, the greater it stuck. So that's just a brief background in regards to how it got to that point. And yeah, it was when I got to the Rays, it really blew up in a good way.
Well, I mean, obviously, we're the organization that really made it all popular with the book Moneyball and then the movie
Mhm.
with Brad Pitt and Billy Beane. So we've gone all through that. But I've told people like Branch Rickey back in the day with the Dodgers was basically using his form of analytics. This is not
Right.
something that's new. But in my career, I've been very lucky, whether it's traveling in Major League Baseball, I worked in the NFL, also in the NBA. The one thing I do know, and I learned it more than ever, was getting the relationship with Bob Melvin and really getting to know Bob, and that people need to understand at the top level, whether it's the NFL, Major League Baseball, there has to be the leader. I always say there has to be the guy at the front of the bus, at the front of the plane, the guy that leads the ship. And I learned that being in a people business and being able to take care, because these athletes, they got problems just like we do. They got problems on the field, they got problems off the field. Somebody has to be there. Somebody has to be the communicator. Bob Melvin obviously is one of the best in the business. I know it means a lot to you, the relationship with the players and everybody in the organization. It's like we're forgetting that we're in the community. Communication is a huge part of our business.
Yeah, it's evolved to the point where people pretty much only recognize bullpen decisions. I mean, anytime you hear about criticism post game, it's always about bullpen decisions.
Yeah.
And that is just a minute part of what occurs. And furthermore, bullpen decisions sometimes go awry because the other team's good too. So that's I think a product of how the game's reported, whether it's through media purposes or even social media. It's always about bullpen guys who are held to an impossible standard of perfection. What it really comes down to is like you're insinuating is that it's the relationships you build within the clubhouse, it's your communication, not only with your players, your coaches, your front office, and your fan base. We have to do the media several times a day. And yeah, you're right. The buck has to stop somewhere, right? And whether it's the front of the bus, the front of the plane, and your description is right on. This guy has to answer to all of these different moments, and that's it. I mean, I don't think it's really recognized enough or spoken about enough or understood enough. All that goes into managing a Major League Baseball club and what you do on a daily basis is much more deep than when to bring in the right relief pitcher.
We're getting the book. It's being sent to us, and I can't wait to
Cool.
read it. And I'm going to tell a lot of our listeners that at this time of the year, Joe, we're looking for Christmas gifts, right? What do we give baseball fans? What to give people they don't have? It sounds like this
Mhm.
book would be an ultimate Christmas gift. And one of the things that I think that's always been that we've known about you, it's about helping people, just not your own players. That's just something that it's like a gift that you have. Talk about how you've always felt that you want to give back to people and help other people.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think we all need to be in that moment. It's just something inbred in me from where I came from in Pennsylvania. My mom and my dad, the nuns that taught me, the community that I was raised in, and I'm still there. I just left there. I was just there for most. Once I got let go by the Angels, I was there the remaining of the summer. Yeah, it's all about that. It's all about giving back. It's all about passing it along, however you want to describe it. And so I'm very grateful that I received that, whatever that thing within you that wants you to do that, and based upon the people that I've been with before. And so, yeah, it's something that's very important to me. We have the foundation, the Respect 90 Foundation, and it's got a pretty large umbrella. We started with primarily helping the homeless through Thanksgiving dinners. We've also then evolved into the Hazleton Integration Project. Back in Hazleton, we have our own building, the Hazleton One Community Center. I just had a book signing there recently where we've attempted to bring together the Hispanic and Anglo cultures within my hometown. In Chicago, where I'm at right now, we did a lot of boxing, youth boxing for the Crushers Club on the south side here, and City Boxing, Youth Boxing of Chicago. We raised over 500,000 bucks for them. Through that, we've done pediatric cancer stuff regarding shaving of our head in spring training. One year, one spring training, the Cubs, just the Cub players alone, in an hour donated. I don't know, it was close to 100,000 bucks that eventually turned into a room at the Banner Health there in Mesa, where kids getting cancer treatment can go for their treatment and then post treatment to get a gift. I mean, it's a lot of stuff that we've encountered, and it's been very gratifying. And I'm very fortunate that I was raised by the people that I was. That makes me want to do things like this.
Well, let's really bring it to life. Cody, my producer, Cody, come on here and tell Joe how he's inspired you.
Yeah, Joe. So I use a meditation app called Vision Pursue, and your quote, try not to suck, has been a huge part of that since I started that in 2017. And one of your Maddonisms is about seeing everything with first time eyes, and they say
Yep.
new eyes in that. So those are two things that I've lived by for the last 5 years. And the try not to suck pops up every once in a while as a daily visionary thing. And I love that quote. I tell people all the time. I tell my wife about it. So I just want to thank you for putting that quote out there and the app for using it, because it's meant a lot to me the last 5 years.
Thanks, Cody. And just to expand upon that, I appreciate that. Within the book, I talked about the comparing and contrasting of managing from 80s to present day. The other part is all the Maddonisms. Each chapter begins with something like that. See with first time eyes, feel with first time passion. Tell me what you think, not what you've heard. Um, uh, Try not to suck is one of them. Embrace the target. Whatever you put out there comes back to you. All these things. I wanted it to be more than just a baseball book. I wanted to apply to personal life on a daily basis, and you're validating that, and I appreciate that, Code. It's something that's very important to me. I didn't want it just to be little Joey grew up on 11th Street and played baseball, then eventually went to the Cubs, and they won the World Series. So
Don't
I've
forget
heard
football. You played a little quarterback back in the day, I believe.
that's how I got to college, man. Pennsylvania high school, Friday Night Lights, man. Nothing like it. Nothing like it. First game started against Berwick when I was a sophomore. That's a moment you'll never forget. And that's how I got to Lafayette College because of that. Then eventually it morphed into a baseball career. And then it turned into Maddonisms. And now I'm here talking to you guys. It's been a wonderful ride to this point. I wanted to continue, but I built up different thoughts, philosophies along the way. And that's part of why I wanted to do this book, to pass that stuff along also.
Yeah, let's end on this. My old head coach at San Jose State just went into the San Jose Hall of Fame, won a lot of games, got us into the College World Series, and he was all about keeping things simple. He always used the KISS system, keep it simple,
Right.
stupid. And your Maddonisms are all very simple, but simple really reaches everybody. Why is that so key to keep it simple in your teachings?
Yeah, mine's do simple better. That's what I came up with a couple years ago. Why? Because everybody believes an answer to a question needs to be convoluted or complicated, and people fail to realize just reduce, and get this to the simplest form. Get it to that nugget that makes most sense to me. That could remind me about all of these different layers or factors about whatever it is I'm trying to attack or get better at. So I did the do simple better approach. In a hot moment in a baseball game, as an example, you're not going to recall. Your body should be on autopilot at that point. But if you get out there on the mound, if you're in the batter's box and things get a little bit quicker, you're just bad pitch or a bad swing, whatever, you have to have a nugget and you have to have something to go to, the breath as your anchor, whatever it takes. And it's a simple thing, but we've been taught to think that the answers have to be complex or convoluted. I'm exactly the opposite.
Well, word on the street is the golf game's pretty good.
Getting better. And there's a perfect example. One swing thought, right elbow tuck. That's it. That's it. That's all I'm at right now. And I've gone through everything all summer. I can't sit here and talk to you right now and watch TV simultaneously and give both all my attention. You've got to focus on one thing at a time, and preferably something small, not something large and complicated.
Well, the Book of Joe, try not to suck at baseball and life. I can tell you, we will pump this and try and sell as many as possible. Like I said, I think it'll make a great Christmas gift. You're a treasure in our game. You've been good to us over the years. I hope you manage again, but if not, there's so much that you can do in life and helping people. But it's an honor to have you on the program. Good luck with everything, and have great holidays.
I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. It's really an honor. My best to everybody out west. I'm going to be in Arizona soon, and then maybe I'll get up to the Bay Area to do some signing in the near future. But again, I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Thank you.